All right, so we are covering the row today, and it's just the basic row and the row progressions, some common errors to that and how to fix them. But what the row is great for is we're just targeting that upper body pull pattern. So we've worked tension, we know how to do pushing movements, we know how to squat, deadlift. Now it's time to work that upper body pulling pattern. And the row is just an amazing tool using straps, using dumbbells, using kettlebells. It's all the same but different. And I'm going to show you some ways to make sure that your row is top notch. Okay, so some common errors when talking about the row is common error number one is that when you're pulling, we see the shoulders shrug up. Now, when you're pulling yourself up, whether you're pulling yourself up to some straps or you're bent over and you're pulling something towards you, we do not want that shoulder to elevate because then that's going to cause tension in your neck and not going to be ideally strong in the pulling pattern. What we want to do is as I'm pulling is I want to think about squeezing something down in my armpit, or another cue is flare your lat, like you're trying to flex your armpit lat area. This is going to help keep that shoulder down and in a strong position. And just like the push-up, right, you don't push up here. When we give you that cue of spinning your hands into the ground, what that does is help you create tension in that shoulder joint so that you can be nice and strong. Okay? Common error number two is that we're not creating enough tension while we're pulling ourselves up. So if I'm pulling myself up and we're not planking, what we start to see is this, where the hips drop back and we start pulling ourselves up like this. Okay? What we want to do is plank, because the row is a moving plank, a squat is a moving plank, push-up is a moving plank, and so on. This is no different. So I'm going to brace and squeeze. Watch. Brace, squeeze, shoulders down, pull up. Slowly let yourself down, pull up. All right? And we have a good long line as we pull. All right? Common error number three is that we're driving the head forward. Just like in the push-up that we see, we want to keep a nice neutral head position. So my cues are going to be similar to the push-up position, trying to make that double chin. So here I am in position. I'm going to brace and squeeze. I'm going to break something into my armpits, and then I'm going to make a double chin. And then you get that whole body moving as one unit. Okay? That's the important key to this. Next, we're going to show you a few progressions that I like to use when teaching the row pattern. Okay, so our first progression is we're just going to use a wall. We don't even have to use straps or weights or anything. And this is a great position, great progression that I like to use for everyone, but especially starting out, because it's going to help you create that upper back, that upper body tension that you need. And you can use this anywhere: hotel room, vacation, standing in line, whatever. Okay? So all you're going to do is you're going to set up against the wall like so, and then you're just going to walk your feet out about a foot's distance away or so. And from here, I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hips off the wall, and so I have a straight line like a plank. I'm going to squeeze my butt, I'm going to brace my abs, and then I'm going to go arms out in front of me. I'm going to pull my elbows into my rib cage, and then I'm going to keep pulling until my elbows pull my upper back off the wall. And I'm just going to hold this position. This is just that static position where I'm staying nice and tall, nice and tight. I'm creating tension. I'm keep pushing, keep pulling across away from the wall. If I want to make this harder, what I can do is I can just walk my feet away from the wall a little bit more and bring my toes off the ground. This creates more tension and it's bringing more body weight against the wall, which is making the progression harder. Try this first progression before moving on, and it's also a great progression, as I said, that you can use anywhere. All right, so the second progression is the static row. We learned how to create tension and do a static movement against the wall with our bat wing. That's our first progression. Our second progression is we're going to take the actual straps. So everything applies here. We're going to create that tension. We're going to keep those shoulders down, long head, tall and tight. And we're going to just maintain the top position and hold it statically. So I start from the bottom, get tight, squeeze down, long, tall head, and I'm just going to hold this position. What's going to want to happen is your shoulders are going to want to come up. Just keep squeezing down, keep squeezing your butt, bracing your abs, and maintain that position. And then down. If you wanted to make it harder on here, all you could do is just start working your feet farther down towards the wall or the door. You can also lengthen these straps so that your body position drops down farther and there's more resistance. Gravity's pulling it and your body weight will pull you down. That will make this exercise harder. Okay? Next progression, progression 3 on the straps, is just doing that full row position now. Okay? So now we're just going to do that whole dynamic position up and down. And again, if I wanted to make this exercise harder, I just work my feet closer and closer to the door or the wall, or I increase the length of these straps until I get closer and closer to the ground. That's the simplest way to progress that movement, and it's also very, very challenging. Okay, our last progression that we're going to cover today is just the bent over row. This is a great row variation to do if you're using dumbbells or kettlebells. You can even use barbells, but we're going to use this as just a single arm row variation, and we're going to make sure that you have the finer points of this to be doing this right. So kind of all the points apply as the previous progressions. However, instead of being in this nice tall position, this nice tight position, now we're up and down into a kind of a hip hinge position. So I'm using a kettlebell here today. The first thing I'm going to show you is just the straight on view and then from the side. So the way I like to set up is that the kettlebell is going to be directly to my between my legs. But what I'm going to do is if I was pulling on my right side, I'm just going to offset my foot back a little bit so that I have space to pull with my hand. All right. If this leg is too far forward, then you're going to be pulling out in front of you, and it's not an ideal position. So I'll set up in this offset position, and this kettlebell will be between my legs like so. I'm going to find my hip hinge. I'm going to brace my arm down on one leg. Nice flat back here. And then from here, I can just go into my rowing position. So I'm going to pull up and back down. Up and back down. From the side, what that looks like, kettlebell between my legs. I'm going to offset my stance, so now I'm going to pull with the left arm. I'm going to find my hip hinge. I'll brace my elbow down onto my knee. I'm in a nice flat back position. My head's neutral. It's not down. It's not up. I'm not rounding my back. I'm nice and long here. From here, I can pull and back down. Pull and back down. The goal here is as you're rowing is that you're not shifted way off to one side. You're trying to stay in the middle of your stance and you're using your obliques and your abs to stabilize. You can also, as I said, use this with a dumbbell, kettlebell, really any type of weight that will allow you to bend over and pull. So these are some easy progressions to do, some common errors and fixes, and let me know if you have any questions.